Hold up.
I hope you're having a great day. Today I want to talk about a neurotransmitter called serotonin. All of us would have heard of different neurotransmitters called serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and then of course we have hormones like melatonin. Sleep is one of the biggest problems that plagues millions of people across the world. And sleep, unfortunately or fortunately, is one of the most intelligent drug mechanisms that are inbuilt in us to help us with the prevention of disease, recovery when we're sick or we have deadly diseases. It helps us with energy, hormonal balance, detoxification. All the magic happens while you sleep. So while people keep talking about what are the best ways to increase our sleep, some people meditate, some people do deep breathing, we retrain our circadian rhythms, we have chamomile, we have sour cherries, we have so many different things. But you always get down to the root cause. While all of these things can definitely make a positive impact on your sleep, we understand everything to do with melatonin. Melatonin isn't studied too much, and in fact, in most of the scientific videos, you'll find amazing benefits. But most of the science also says these are short-term studies. No one's done a long-term study yet, because when you do a long-term study on something like melatonin, it's going to disrupt the pharmaceutical world. It's going to disrupt the world of diets and weight loss and obesity and everything, because everything exists in that super magical hormone called melatonin. So today we're going to understand, even though I'm talking about serotonin, there's one thing I need you to understand. If you are unable to produce the right amount of serotonin, or you're not making the right amount of serotonin, you can't make melatonin. So the lower your levels of serotonin, the lower your levels of melatonin. The lower your levels, or the lower the ability of your pineal gland to produce melatonin, the more sleep problems you have. And we understand today that melatonin is scientifically referred to as an anti-cancer vaccine. Why? Because while you sleep, the melatonin that you produce has a job of moving around your body. They're chemical messengers. Every hormone is a chemical messenger, looking out for proliferating cells, which are called cancer cells, and then signaling to your immune system via interleukins to do their job. So you see, immunity, what a beautiful, beautiful army of immune factors you have within you. Turmeric, garlic, all of that stuff important. But more than just power, you also need intelligence. How well is your immune system trained? Let's get straight back into serotonin. Serotonin is a feel-good hormone. When you're happy, you need serotonin to feel happy. You cannot feel happy, you cannot have a positive mindset, you cannot have positive behavior if you lack serotonin. So in certain cases and in certain conditions, in psychological or psychiatric conditions where the patient is unable to make or produce serotonin, that's when you're put onto certain medications that can balance your serotonin levels so that the patient can start to feel better. So there are cases where you do not produce the right amount of serotonin no matter how good your lifestyle is. So those are cases that need medical attention, and you should always take that medical attention because it can help you feel better. It can prevent you from being suicidal, from being violent, and all of that stuff that leads to crime or complete chaos in families, relationships, and vice versa. Okay, so what are the other functions of serotonin? One is it's a mood regulator. Like I said, you cannot feel happy if you don't have serotonin. It also regulates smooth digestion. And this is the beautiful part of it. So you see, tryptophan is an amino acid that makes serotonin. There is no food that is rich in serotonin. All the foods that you Google that are rich in serotonin, they have a different action in the body. You need tryptophan. So if you eat foods which are rich in tryptophan, which we'll discuss, your brain is able to produce tryptophan. It's an amino acid. And your brain uses tryptophan to produce serotonin. And because you have serotonin or serotonin, you can produce melatonin. So you see, always we Google foods, but we don't go into the depth. We don't go into something called deep cellular nutrition. Nutrition is just not about your macros and your micros and your vitamins and micronutrients. It's about food synergies, how one food combines with another to create absorption and synergy at a deeply cellular level. That's why nutrition is today very superficial. You got to go a level below into something called advanced cellular nutrition. That's when nutrition becomes medicine for your diseases, prevention, and everything else. Okay, serotonin also regulates sleep. It helps you regulate your circadian rhythms. All of us are now well versed with what the circadian rhythm is, and as much as we try to follow it, we can have difficulties in trying to wake up with sunrise or before sunrise, or trying to eat our meals with sunset, or sleep 3 hours before midnight. We struggle with that because we're unable to regulate our circadian rhythm. For that, we need serotonin. Serotonin helps us to regulate the circadian rhythm. It helps you to regulate your appetite as well, which is why sometimes we're feeling very, very low. You don't feel like eating. You need serotonin to help you regulate your appetite. It's useful for learning and memory. Very, very important. It plays such an important role. Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers in the brain. They're constantly firing and constantly wiring. So every time you make a new memory, that memory gets lodged somewhere in your brain because neurons fire, they wire together. Now I want to pick up a memory of my childhood. It requires several neurons to fire, but they've been wired before together. It's already established a connection. Now, how quickly can my neurons fire and pull up the memory of a childhood? And that's why we see in cognitive brain disorders or cognitive brain decline as we age, or we have Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. It's very difficult for you to go back to your memory. It's wired, but you're not firing enough because of the death or the slow death of your neurons. So chemical messengers like serotonin are very, very essential for our cognitive health as we age, how we feel right now. It also helps you with, like I said, your positive behavior. Now, how do we know we have low serotonin levels? Okay, there can be several indicators. One is when you're constantly anxious. So you see, sometimes anxiety is also because we don't have the right balance in our system. If you have low serotonin, you will constantly feel anxious, or the things that would never make you anxious before now start to make you more and more anxious. So you start chanting and meditating and all of that. That's good stuff, but it's not fixing your problem. When that's not fixing your problem, you got to go a step deeper. And you go a step deeper into your neurotransmitters like serotonin. If you have low serotonin levels, you could be anxious. You could be aggressive. All of a sudden, that calm you're getting more irritable, you're getting more aggressive. Things that would never make you aggressive or irritable are now making you irritable and aggressive. Again, that could be low serotonin. You're sleep deprived, obviously. You don't have enough of melatonin because you have less serotonin. You're not able to regulate your circadian rhythm. So all of that affects your sleep. It affects your digestion. We all know that the gut and the brain are directly connected through an axis today. So guess what? There are melatonin receptors and serotonin receptors even in your gut. So if you have low serotonin levels or low melatonin levels, it affects the way your gut works. That's the beauty of the body, and which is why you never look at one symptom alone. You never look at the liver as the liver alone when you have a liver problem. You want to know what's going on in the kidney, what's going on in the pancreas, likewise with the heart. It's not just a heart problem. Yep, a cardiologist will look specifically at the heart, but on the side, you got to look at everything else involved with the other organs because everything is interconnected in the human body. The same way today science is showing us that every person is interconnected in some way or the other through the cosmic world or whatever you call it. Everyone, nature is interconnected. People in different countries are interconnected with one another. But yeah, that's a different level. Start off with your own body. The interconnection with every organ in the human body. They're interdependent on each other, which is why, again, you got to look at the health of your gut when you're trying to fix what's going wrong in your head. And you got to fix what's going wrong in your head to have better gut health at the same time. Okay, what else? You will have nausea, constant nausea. You eat a meal, you feel nauseous all the time, and your sweet cravings and your carbohydrate cravings increase when you have low serotonin. Okay, you'll have a negative behavior. All of a sudden, you find yourself pessimistic about everything. The things that would make you happy no longer make you happy anymore. You get bored easily. All of these signs are signs of low serotonin levels. So now, let's get straight into solution mode. Like I said, there are no foods that you can eat. There are supplements, there are medications, but we're talking natural today. So tryptophan is an amino acid that your brain uses to convert into serotonin. So if you have the right amino acids, we know we need amino acids for everything, for your skin, for your hair, for your muscles, for every single thing, including your neurotransmitters. But now we have a bigger problem over there. Not a big problem, it's just something for you to know. We have something called the blood-brain barrier. This is a sheet that goes around your brain. It doesn't allow all of your foods to reach your brain, and that's why amino acids are so powerful for us. That's why a diet rich in protein, not high in protein, but rich in protein according to your structure, your muscle, your ailment, your lifestyle. You need protein. Protein breaks down into amino acids. Amino acids have the ability, certain amino acids, to cross the blood-brain barrier into your brain. And then your brain can use that amino acid like tryptophan to convert it into serotonin. And that's the beauty of it. So now let's talk about the foods, high protein foods. Foods that are rich in protein will produce an amino acid and will contain tryptophan. So you're lean. If you're non-vegetarian, your lean meats, your eggs, your turkeys, your chicken, your fish, all of that. If you're vegetarian, your lentils, your legumes. If you eat soy, which is non-genetically modified soy, that's also good for you. So all of your protein sources will have amino acids. In some cases, when people are going through heavy treatments, we may put them on a branch chain amino acid, or we may put them on protein shakes that contain amino acids only because they have the side effects of their treatment are too high, and you still need to create amino acids in that body. People with very weak digestive systems, like they have low stomach acid issues, stomach acid breaks down protein into amino acids. So everyone overdoing it with protein shakes and you don't have the right amount of stomach acid is practically useless. Your body's not breaking down protein into amino acids. So now, how do we enable good protein and amino acids like tryptophan to cross the blood-brain barrier? Research shows us the combination of a protein and a carbohydrate makes this possible. Now that brings us to the next thing. Have you ever gone on such a low carb diet, and when you cut out carbs and you're irritable throughout the day, you're frustrated, you're snappy, you're angry, and that's why. You go on a high protein diet, you cut out carbs, or you go so low carb that amino acids are unable to cross the blood-brain barrier to your brain. And that is why we never go extreme with our diets. Carbohydrates are required. There's good carbs and bad carbs. You can avoid the bad carbs, but you need good carbs, which makes a nice, tasty, reassuring sandwich a beautiful snack or a meal sometimes. If you use the right kind of bread and you stuff your sandwich with proteins and greens and veggies, that's a meal by itself. The good carbs mixed with the protein, making it a fantastic food to cross your blood-brain barrier for tryptophan to be converted into serotonin for your feel-good factor, your sleep, and everything else. Ever notice sometimes you're trying to do these diets and at night you just cut out all of your carbs and you're going strictly high protein and fat and you can't sleep at night? That's because you don't have enough of melatonin. You don't have enough of serotonin because you don't have enough of tryptophan. So you always want to combine a good carbohydrate. Now, of course, if you're having more carbs than protein, that's a problem. You want to have more protein, the carbs are a little bit lesser, and your fats are well balanced. This differs from person to person. Okay, let's talk about oatmeal. Again, it's a good complex carbohydrate when it's not processed. I'm not talking about the instant oats. That's processed, ultra-processed food that you should never consume. I'm talking about the whole oats, the oat groats. Now, if I take oatmeal and mix it with nuts, it's a beautiful combination of a good carb and proteins and fat. Great for tryptophan, great for serotonin. Or let's say I'm doing protein and rice or a whole grain. I'm using whole grains like rice or quinoa, brown rice, quinoa, amaranth, and I'm mixing a protein with it. So if I'm non-vegetarian, I may do a chicken and rice, beautiful combination. Or if I'm vegetarian, I'll do a lentil and a rice, like my favorite, which is khichdi. I'm mixing a protein with a whole grain, making it a beautiful food with complete amino acids to create tryptophan, serotonin, and melatonin. Or let's say peanut butter, which doesn't have, of course, read the label of your peanut butter bottle. There should be 2 or max 3 ingredients. Pure peanuts, okay, and maybe a little bit of rock salt. But if you have hydrogenated fats and emulsifiers and all of that stuff, dump it. It's not peanut butter. It's full of chemicals and preservatives. Peanut butter should have just peanuts and nothing else. The consistency is created by the oil that is secreted from the peanut when you are grinding it or putting it in a blender. You can add a little bit of salt for taste. Some people add a little bit of jaggery. Some people add a little bit of dark raw cacao to make it like a chocolate peanut butter. All of that is good, but read the label first. So now if I have peanut butter, and let's say I spread it on a piece of fruit, like an apple, or I have a nice multigrain or a whole grain cracker, it's a fantastic snack, pre-workout, pro-workout, post-workout. It's a great, great food to help you with tryptophan in your system. Yogurt, you like yogurt? How can I add a couple of nuts and pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and make this little mix? Maybe a little bit of raw cacao. So I get so much of nutrition and it's great for tryptophan again. What else? That's the food part of it. Exercise. Exercise stimulates the release of tryptophan into your blood. And we're talking about aerobic training. So you're walking, you're cycling, you're hiking, you're dancing, you're swimming. Weight training also is excellent for tryptophan. Then, what's the next thing? So we've established exercise, bright light, not from your phones, not from your gadgets, which is why I keep constantly telling you when you wake up in the morning, before you put your screens on, Look out at natural light. You look at the sky, you look at the trees, you look at the sun, all of that stuff. In the morning, bright light helps you with tryptophan. Blue light cuts it. It's as simple as that. There's a reason why we tell you keep your gadgets off 1 hour before bed and don't switch it on 1 hour at least when you wake up in the morning. So bright light, sunlight, sunshine, doing your 10 to 15 minutes of sunbathing in the morning. Now what happens if you live in a country where you don't have access to bright light and sun? You get white box machines, you get light machines. It's called light box therapy. People in countries that don't have the sun can easily get this machine and it creates bright light for you, which can help you with your tryptophan, your serotonin, and your melatonin. Probiotics plays a huge role. By now you would have understood why probiotics plays a role, because probiotics plays a role with the gut plays a role with serotonin and with melatonin. So if you're eating a balanced diet that's rich in vegetables, your fruits, your nuts, your seeds, your prebiotics and your probiotics, you're good. If you're going through any heavy treatment, like a lot of antibiotics, chemotherapy, radiation, steroids, you're recovering from post-COVID where you've been put on a laundry list of medication, yep, you're gonna have to replenish your microbiome. For that, you're gonna need prebiotics and probiotics to help you with tryptophan, serotonin, and melatonin. Massages. Who would ever think that massages have so many health benefits, including serotonin? And that's why you feel so good after a good massage. Sometimes you can feel horrible when you have the wrong therapist and they give you a bad massage, right? But when you have a good massage, why do you feel good? Again, remember, serotonin, feel good factor. You feel happy, you feel relaxed. So massages are also great for you. Something else which is in all our control, visualization. When you do guided imagery, when you focus and reflect on memories that make you happy, you automatically start to produce serotonin. Memories, looking at old photographs, photos. I do it every single morning. I just go through my photo gallery and pick up one photo and I spend 2 to 3 minutes on it. Of course, it's got to be a happy photo, okay? So that also helps you to stimulate serotonin, and you can do it maybe once in the evening. Sometimes it's nice to do it with your family or your partner. Just go pick up a picture. My dad is old right now. He's been going through his own stuff, but we've been pulling out albums, childhood albums, and you should see that happiness on his face when he's going through pictures of all of us growing up and stuff like that. Again, why is he feeling good? Serotonin, again, a neurotransmitter. These are little things that you can do. Laughter. The more you laugh, the more serotonin you produce, neurotransmitters. Laughter is so important. And before I end this again, if you struggle with serotonin, you may need medical help sometimes. If you are on supplements like 5-HTP and all of these other supplements, you got to be very careful that you also don't supplement with melatonin, because 5-HTP will anyway produce more tryptophan, which will produce more serotonin and more melatonin. So your additional melatonin supplement can actually create confusion. So always take professional advice, especially if you're playing around with supplements like 5-HTP, melatonin, or if you are a patient and you are on certain antidepressants or on certain stimulants for serotonin, do it the right way. Never stop your medication without professional advice. Never get on medication without professional advice. So these are little low-hanging fruits that we have available to us. How are we going to boost our serotonin levels today? And this plays such a huge role. Gratitude. Serotonin booster again. When you're truly grateful for something, why do you feel so good? Which neurotransmitter is activated? Serotonin. So that's how we stimulate serotonin, through our sleep, through our exercise, through our nutrition. It finally comes down to the 4 pillars, the fundamentals of holistic health: your nutrition, your movement, your sleep, your emotional wellness, and everything is interdependent on each other. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep, and remember, you care is all about you.